Stampers, and welcome to Laura's Stamp Pad. Today I just wanted to show you a little tutorial using the What I Love Sale-A-Bration stamp set. So that's this one here, and you can earn this stamp set for free with every $50 order. You can pick something out of the Sale-A-Bration brochure, and this is one of them. It's called What I Love, and I love it because it's got the 3-step stamping flowers on the bottom, and I love flowers, so any flower stamp set I'm already sold on. And then of course it's got a little flower here and some greenery, and then it also has some fabulous greetings. It has a thank you greeting, which I make oodles and oodles of thank you stamp sets, but then it also has this fabulous greeting that says, "Know what I love?" ? And then it has the word you. Love, love, love that. I just want to make like millions of those and send them out to everyone because I love everyone. I love all of you for following me, and I thank you so much for that. And so I just love this stamp set. It's so much fun, but I also think it's really great for a lot of other occasions. So you can always pick your favorite greeting stamp set, place it on there, and make any occasion cards. So here, I actually made a with sympathy and a thank you card, and both of these greetings are actually from the Rose Wonder stamp set, which I super love that stamp set. Again, it's got a rose on it, it's got flowers, so I love that, but also the greetings are just perfect, and that font is just so scrolly and fabulous, and I'm just in love. So I used the greetings from those because I thought this made a great sympathy card. And it's always good to have those on hand, just in case. And then again, I make oodles of thank you cards, and I wanted a little bit of a bigger greeting, which is why I chose this greeting rather than the other one. So this is a 3-step stamping stamp set. So let's get started, and I'll show you how to do that. So here we have our 3 images, and each of the images have a little arrow on them. So I've lined them all up on my blocks with the arrows all pointing in the same direction. So the reason for those arrows is because if you line up all of these with the arrows going in the same direction, then you will actually have a perfectly lined up stamp. But don't worry, don't fuss about that, because I have found that this one, because of the details and the scroll and the wiggle of the flowers, that if you don't hit it just spot on, it still looks fabulous. It kind of gives it like a watercolor look where it's a little outside the lines, and I still love it anyway. So we're going to get started, and I'm actually first going to show you this fabulous card and how I got that nice little layer, but yet the flowers still line up perfectly. So I have my pieces of Whisper White cardstock. So there's actually 2 pieces of Whisper White cardstock here, and I'm just going to add a little dab of snail adhesive. And when I say little dab, I mean like barely a dab at all. And I'm just going to touch it a few times to unstickify it a little bit because I don't want it to be completely glued down. And now I'm just going to center this onto my other piece of Whisper White cardstock. So there you see, you have that. And then I'm going to bring in my ink. I used Pumpkin Pie for the first one. So I'm just going to ink up my stamp and stamp randomly all over this card, and always taking note at where that arrow is. So that arrow is always going to be facing down or up. I guess it's up for me. So it's always going to be facing up. So I'm just going to add some flowers. Another thing that you might be wondering is you can kind of see that you don't have a perfect image right there where the paper overlaps. And again, that is perfectly okay because we're going to add in that piece of orange that layers here in a bit. So I just feel like it needs a little bit more. I'm horrible with random. I feel like I need to stop like 3 stamps prior to where I actually stop, because then, you know, like I feel like it needs another one there, but then if it needs one there, then it needs one there. So I'm just going to stop. Then I'm going to take my Tangerine Tango and my number 2 stamp, and again, taking note of where that arrow is. And I know I tilted it a few times on some of these, but I'm just going to, for the most part, stamp it forward. The other thing that you can do is if you want a little bit of a lighter color, you can always stamp off and then stamp it down. So you'll notice this one's a little lighter than that one is. So you can kind of play with it and do it however you wish. And again, like I said, if they're not completely lined up, that is perfectly okay because you have that little outline, and then you also have that awesome, oh, I forgot this one down here in the corner. That awesome little like kind of watercolor look, or where the flower has some white in it and it has some dark in it, so you can really kind of play with that however you wish. Now the third one I'm going to do in Daffodil Delight. And this one's smaller, so it really doesn't matter where you stamp it at because it's going to fit in, and then you can see that that yellow just kind of pops in just a little bit here and there and sort of has those yellows and oranges, and it's just so beautiful. And there you have your design. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to unstick that, and we're going to layer a piece of Tangerine Tango behind that, and then set it back down, and then layer it onto some Daffodil Delight. And that's how you get that fabulous look. Isn't that so much fun? You could even do 2, 3, 4 layers, however many you want, of the Whisper White, and then just add some patterned paper or some solid paper behind it. And then let's bring back in that sample. So I just added some Daffodil Delight cotton ribbon right along there, and then my greeting with the decorative label punch, and then I just kind of added that little border of Daffodil Delight to really make that greeting pop just a little bit more. So lots of fun there. Then I'm just going to show you this sample again. For this sample, I actually took a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and then I took some of my grid paper. So some of my grid paper here, you could also use printer paper, and I just stuck that down in the middle. Here, I'll actually show you. There's the back. So let's see. It goes right, nope, that's not right. Goes just like that. So I just stuck this piece down in the middle as a little mask, and then stamped all of my flowers and just kind of added them in different colors. I used Island Indigo, Melon Mambo, Tangerine Tango, Daffodil Delight, and then I used a little Perfect Plum and for the little flowers, and Old Olive for the greenery. And for this one, I actually used just those colors. So I stamped the first image with the solid of that, and then the second image I did with the stamped off of that same color, and I didn't stamp the third one at all. And you'll also notice I forgot to stamp off on that one, so you can tell he's really dark, but that's okay. And then I just added some of the greenery, and I stamped off on that greenery and added the greeting in basic black. So that's how I did that one. So it's so much fun. You could create bouquets or just backgrounds or anything with this fabulous stamp set in those beautiful 3-step stamping flowers that really add a lot of texture and fun to your card. So be sure to check out my blog, laurastamppad.com, where I will be posting photos of both of these samples and a little write-up tutorial on them. And of course, if you have any ideas that you would like to share with me, I would love to hear that in the comments below. So let me know how you would like to do your flowers, or which flower is your favorite color, because I would love to hear from you. So be sure to check out my blog, laurastamppad.com, and I will see you next time. Happy stamping!